Hi there everyone. It would help, of course, if I turn the camera around and then you can see what's going on. So for those who just missed my quick stream about 20 minutes ago, I've arrived here in Redding, California. There is an issue with our charging station, which has meant that I'm going to be charging using the slow charging station rather than the fast charging station, but that's totally okay, because I'm not going to be leaving for another 45 minutes anyway. And I am enjoying a coffee, so cheers. So the trip thus far has been great. There hasn't been any major issues. The first issue was obviously the 50 kilowatt being down here in Redding, California, and I've reported it, and I return this way on Monday next week. So the hope is that it will be fixed by the time I return back, because if it isn't, the trip back to Portland is going to be hellish, and I'm going to be doing that in one day. So we'll see. We will see on that one. So far I've done about 440 miles on my trip. So I've got just over 166 to my next stop, and then 70 on top of that. So I've got about 230, 240 miles left to go. Maybe 260 if I do a little detour, which I might do to get some nice pictures. But it's really nice not to be at work. It's really nice not to be. I mean, I love producing videos for you guys, but I think I've been a bit of an overworking person of late, and it's quite nice not to have to worry about it. Biggest coffee cup ever. This is a venti. It's 20 ounce. And I didn't eat last night, so I've just had a bagel thing and my coffee, and it's 8:58 in the morning. So I say I didn't eat. I kind of had one of those little snack pots of crackers last night, and that was it. I didn't really want to eat. Not that I need it really. So there we are. Interestingly, the charging infrastructure on I-5 is very interesting. There are plenty of 25 kilowatt charging stations, but nothing else. Have I passed my lease mileage limit? Oh, I'm way over it. I'm talking to you guys because I want to tell you about the trip thus far. If you've got any questions, ask me. Because the content you're going to get from me this week is going to be severely reduced. I was going to get the Model 3 review out, but honestly, I've decided that I would rather not rush that review and get it to you in a really good condition than I would try and rush it and get it out the door and it not be great. So I've got a lot of content to produce, and I had hoped that the Model 3 was going to be one of those things. So I'm working on the Scoot review right now. 42. I am going to be working on the Scoot review. I've got the Tesla review. I've produced this new review, well, this new road trip video, which I'm working on, the hybrid, Pacifica hybrid, and a couple of other things. So, and there's going to be a meetup in Reno on Sunday morning. I need to figure out where. But it looks like Sunday morning is going to be the best time for a meetup. As long as the, I don't know if there's going to be a rap party, but if there is going to be a rap party, I'll be good. I'm absolutely fed up with the musical. I mean, not fed up with it, but I've sung it so many times now that I know it really well, which is good. But I'm not going to sing it much more because I don't want it to be too stale by the time we come to the performance on Saturday. And that's really all there is to say. I didn't need to put the roof rack on. I didn't need to put the tail box on. which are two things that I thought I was going to need to use, but of course that does affect the wind resistance and everything else. So, you know. Yes, of course. I always carry a towel as well. In fact, I do have a towel in the car. So there you go. Lots of people have been reaching... Oh, any update on the faulty staff BMW i3? Well, it's been fixed. But that's for a future video. Kate is very busy at the moment because she went to the UK for her birthday a couple of weeks back. And she's in the process of trying to get a house finished while the weather's good. So you may have to wait for that update, but it did get fixed. It was a faulty connector, and after 2 or 3 visits to the dealer, they did concede there was a problem with the AC system, and they replaced that under warranty too. So she did get an extended warranty when she purchased her i3, so you know, no major issues there. But she had a puncture yesterday, I think on the RAV, which is not so good. Now, in terms of what else has been going on, a lot of people have been talking to me about the videos I made last week about the Tesla Model 3, about the Tesla Q1 earnings call. I read a very interesting article over the weekend about how the way that companies report their profits is changing, partly because of the changes in tax law. And that means that Tesla looks a lot healthier on paper than it actually is if you compare it to how it was previously. Which is one of the reasons the revenues appear to have gone up, or have gone up so quickly. I'm not going to pass judgment on that because I'm not an accountant and I don't know about it, but maybe I'll find that link and share it on Twitter. I did a couple of days ago. But while we're talking about Tesla, I have passed, I think now, 12 Tesla semis going, not Tesla semis, 12 semis going the other way with just Tesla Model 3s on them. I think there's probably 8 to 10 Model 3s on each transporter. Hello. There's probably 8 to 10 Model 3s on each transporter, so I've seen about 100 Model 3s going north up I-5. If you consider that Tesla is making 2,500 Model 3s a week, at least that's what it's telling us, or at least 2,500 cars. That Model 3 production figure that Model 3 sighting figure doesn't seem too far off. It's important to note that obviously Tesla's not talking about making 2,500 Model 3s, it's making 2,500 cars, which is, I think, something again that we lose sight of a little bit, maybe. At least that seems to be my understanding of it. It's 2,500 cars a week rather than 2,500 Model 3s. But it's still a very good figure. I mean, it's not as high as Ford or any of the other major automakers who can make, you know, who'll churn out that number of cars in a day. But it's still very good. So, about 10 transporters going north up I-5, heading towards, would be Portland, Seattle, maybe Salem, and 1 going south. I saw 2 truckloads the other day, but no Model 3. No, these are all Model 3s, but you have to remember that I live on the west coast of the United States, so Portland and Seattle are 2 of the first markets to get Model 3 after the Bay Area and LA, so it makes total sense. It really does. So after I have finished my coffee, and after I have finished charging, I'll be jumping back on I-5 and heading down to sort of cleave off and head towards Dutch Flats, which is where you hit the big hill, and I think I'll be climbing up to like 7,000 or 8,000 feet in the Bolt, which is going to be fun. I've never climbed quite that high in the Bolt before, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens to the range. And then I'll come down the other side and I'll be in Reno, so I'm really looking forward to that. I think we're going to have a fantastic morning. I think it's going to be a fantastic trip. And my friends arrive at 3, so I've got to get to the hotel, check in, and leave my stuff in the room so I can then pick them up. Your SUV post does not beg the question, why are there no EV pickups now? I don't know. I think it's because of... honestly it's because of battery density, power density, and how much these trucks, you're talking about 3/4 ton pickup trucks, 1 ton pickup trucks. That's a lot of weight to be carrying around in addition to the batteries. I will be using the Arc chargers. I'm really excited about that. Why don't they sell the Bolt in the UK? I don't know. Honestly, I think GM knew it was going to be selling Vauxhall and Opel. The Ampera and the Volt didn't sell well in the UK. I mean, I think I owned one of just a couple of 100 Volts. So, I don't know. I think that GM didn't want to be bitten twice. And when I say bitten, I mean it didn't put any effort into selling the cars over here, or over in the UK. And the Volt and the Ampera were not European-friendly cars, which is a shame because the Bolt is totally a European car. And it would sell really well. But Opel's losing thousands of euro on every car it sells because of what GM is costing them, charging them for the car. So there will be an electric Vauxhall, there will be an electric Opel very soon, I think. We can head back to the car in a minute. I finished my coffee, but let's go for a walk. What change do you think will... I think you're asking... I had to charge... Thank you very much! I had to charge many times getting up to Truckee. Yeah, I mean, it's quite a trip. It really is quite a trek. 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour. Let's see if I can how I do with that. Look at this. There's nothing more I know this sounds stupid because it's a Swedish car, but when I think of Californian cars, I always think of that. I used to own one. I miss it dreadfully. And excuse me, I have coffee burps. If I had the money, I'd probably want to try and make an electric Volvo 240. I know there is one. Just saw Johnny's first glimpse at the production Mercedes-Benz EV. Not a fan. Why don't these manufacturers understand the term affordable? They do, but they want to make cars. You see, a part of me is gonna. Okay, I know someone's going to criticise me for this. Part of this is what I would call the Tesla effect. Tesla's made a premium luxury electric car that will do 200-300 miles per charge. And so all the other mainstream, especially luxury marques, feel they have to do the same. And I think I think honestly we're doing ourselves a disservice. Yes, me driving down to Reno is only really possible because I have a Chevrolet Bolt EV that can do 200 plus miles per charge. I acknowledge that. But what we really need, honestly, what we really need is a better rapid charging technology and smaller battery packs. Now, whether that means using supercapacitors to take the high power charging and then feed that into the battery pack more gradually, I don't know. But we really don't need, most people don't need more than about 200 miles paying a charge. That doesn't sound good. I might have got a flat tyre, but they're way up the road, so I can't tell them. So the challenge is, I think, for these automakers that they're making affordable, for them making an affordable car just isn't an option because they want to try and make money. They don't want to invest and they don't want to play the long game. Now, say what you will about Toyota, but I think that was one of Toyota's genius moves with the Prius, right? The first generation Prius lost Toyota money. We don't need our junk food too, but it sells, you're quite right. Humans like to think that they can get more. If you give them more, they'll want more. And that's just a thing that we all do, you know? That's why I got the 20-ounce coffee instead of the 10-ounce coffee or the 8-ounce coffee. I'd also not drunk anything this morning, so I needed some liquid. It's getting a bit hot. I'll take this off in a minute. So the challenge I think that we have right now, in fact, I'm going to take this off right now, so just bear with me. Make sure there's nothing hiding here, because in the past I have actually stopped at a place and seen snakes and all sorts. Alright. So, where was I? Someone remind me. We don't need junk food. I'm 160 miles on the way back in a 24-hour leave. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. I really am. Alright. I'm afraid all of my clothes today are very kind of very laid back, chill clothes. And they all scream, I'm heading to a convention. But then that's fine, because I am heading to a convention, so can't really complain. Anyway, where were we? We don't need really expensive cars, but yet we want them. And where was I? Oh yeah, Toyota. And I think Toyota was spot on the way it treated the RAV4. Not the RAV4, the Prius. So the first generation Prius made no money. Absolutely no money. Zero money for Toyota. In fact, the Gen 1 Prius lost it a lot of money. The Gen 2 Prius lost Toyota a lot of money. It wasn't until Toyota was selling the Gen 3 Prius that it really started to earn that money back, that it really started to turn a profit on the Prius. And it's no surprise then that the third generation Prius was the point at which we started to see all these different variants. Am I going for work or pleasure? Are you the tax man? I'm actually going for both, okay? So, I'm going to BLFC, Biggest Little Furcon, in Reno, Nevada. It's an Anthro Arts Festival, or if you'd rather, a Furcon. And I am going to be holding a couple of masterclasses there on performance, singing, acting, and whatnot. I'm also going to be holding a masterclass there on making videos. And I'm also going to be performing in a inaugural performance of a musical called One Weekend, which is written specifically for the convention by a couple of very talented musicians in the fandom. And Fox and Pepper, they're fantastic, and I'm very honoured to have been asked to perform alongside them, so I'm really excited about that. So it's a bit of both. And the reason why I paused is because my company owns the characters that I use to perform. So I have another side of my business, which currently doesn't make any money, but I'm kind of building that up slowly, which is just character performance. So one of the characters is a time-travelling border collie who is very obnoxious, terribly British, and gets into a lot of trouble. And the other one is a fox who's just a, day-to-day dad doing his things. Anyway, we all like to think companies... You just short-sighted. Oh, what? We all like to think companies are short-sighted, I think, maybe? I don't know. Maybe you can rephrase that. I didn't understand that. You can tell. One of the things that I've never been able to get my head around in America, and I'm going to talk about this now very briefly, are these. They have sprinklers, right? The sprinklers are embedded into the ground and they water the grass. So I can imagine that being something that you might want to do if you lived somewhere super hot. But in Portland, Oregon, they do it. In Northern California, they do it. And it never gets super hot here. And what you end up having is, in the wintertime, when you walk over any grass whatsoever, you end up going through this squelchy mess of goo, which is terrible. And it just feels like a total waste of electricity as well. Maybe that's just me, but it feels like a total waste of electricity and water. Because obviously you've got to pump the water and you've got to use the water. It just doesn't feel like it makes all that much sense. It's a bit like when I went to Israel. Driving around Israel, you go past these places that have absolutely beautiful green, lush grass. And it's all because of this irrigation system that runs almost constantly to make sure that this green exists. I would hate Japan, they water the pavements. Well, okay, so if you're watering the pavement, it makes sense in some ways because it reduces the dust. And it also helps keep the place clean. But I don't see that being a useful thing here. I mean, I may be wrong. Anyway, let's see how we're doing here. So I'm walking back to the car and we'll see how much charge we've got. I'm going to say about 90%. Hi from Orkney, Jonathan. Welcome to Northern California. 400 and some miles so far. My first DC quick charge failure of the day, of the trip. But luckily, it happened when my car was almost full. So I can't complain. And coming back on Monday next week, I'm going to make sure that my car is completely, is completely sorted on that. Yeah, Japan's really hot and humid in the summer. How much do I pay for a charge? I think I don't actually have to pay for this one. Let's find out. Oh no, it's pay per use. Price details. We'll find out. Here we go. It's 55 cents per hour for parking, and it's 20 cents per kilowatt hour. It's not particularly cheap, but when you're doing a long distance trip, that's not a problem. So, according to my car, I have 215 miles of range. I need 166, I think, to get to my destination, my penultimate destination. So I think I'm just going to jump in the car and start driving in a minute. I'm going to nip to the restroom before I do that. But you can see how full my car is. Let me see if I can. So, grab all of that stuff. So, here we go. This is how full my car is right now. This is how full the Bolt is. This is a giant heart that I made for my friend who wanted me to make one after I made one for my sister last year. I made that for him. Got a musical note plushie down there. Loads of drinks, you know, chargy things, water, a lightsaber. Because, you know, what are you really without a lightsaber? Sadly, I cannot use the Force and I'm not like Star Wars kid. You can't even see it because it doesn't really glow. There you go. So there's my lightsaber. That is because one of my characters now has a Jedi outfit, and as it turns out, the character's brother is a Sith. So, and he's going to be there. He's rooming with me, so we're going to get stuff up. So you can see just how full the car really is. And then in the back, in case you thought the back was empty, these are all the bags for other people. A lot of these are not mine. When someone finds out that you're making a long distance trip and they're flying, your boot is cheaper than excess luggage. So there you have it. And there's my 2 heads of cabbage on the back. Queenie, Chimmy. So that's it really. I don't know if there's any more questions you wanna ask me before we go. I think what I am going to do is put the AC on so that the car is nice and cool when I get back to it. So here we go. There you go. Now the AC is running, which is delightful. I didn't even know if you saw that. So the lights are on, which means that the AC is now running. So that will keep the car nice and cool the car down so that when I'm done, I can go. I should charge them. No, I'm too nice. I'm too nice a person. I really am. And if you think about how little it costs me to drive this far, so far this trip's probably cost me about $10 in electricity from charging stations, which is what, £7.80, £8, and I've done 440 miles. Total cost of getting to Reno is probably going to be 15. Do you want to have a proper look? Do you want me to go back? I'll show you a proper look. Who wants a proper look? If you tell me now, I'll give you a proper show around of the Bolt, in case you haven't seen one before. But you've got like 30 seconds, or I'll turn around and go back. I don't mind, I'm not in a hurry. Thank you. Do I plan to stop to charge before Reno? I'm going to stop at Dutch Flats because I have to climb up to like 8,000 or 9,000 feet or something crazy. All right. So this is the Bolt EV. I've already shown you inside. It's full of animals and things. So this is the Bolt EV. Let me show you inside. Nice little startup animation you get there. And there is the information. And you can, it's a bit like the Tesla in as much as it gives you a maximum and a minimum range based on how you've been driving. And then it gives you the kind of the expected range. So if I drive this car really carefully and there's lots of downhills, I might get 256 miles out of it. I'm probably going to get a genuine 217 miles out of that, yeah. Yeah, minimum of 166. Well, 166 is about the number of miles I need to get to my destination, so I'm pretty cool on that. And you can actually change this if you'd rather. So you can have a classic look. Let me wind the windows down. Oh, there's a camera on that one. That was nearly bad. So 217, because friendship. I mean, that's really the reason why I don't charge people, because friendship. So I've done 430.6 miles. I'm getting 4.1 miles per kilowatt hour. So that's one of the options. And then I can have, instead of the classic, I can have the modern, which you might remember from the Ampera or the Volt. And I use the enhanced because that gives me the most information. All right, so let's go back. And, you know, you've got OnStar if you want it. I don't use OnStar Nav because I prefer the Apple, well, the CarPlay. There where it says projection, if I plugged my Android phone into this, it would turn into Android Auto. If you plug in an Apple CarPlay, it will turn into CarPlay. So this just needs built in. And it, you know, GPS, sorry, not GPS, it's got Wi-Fi. So it's 4G data connection, which I'm now using to stream this through. And what you'll find is that the cellular connection in the car is far better than the cellular connection on your mobile phone, because it can have a larger antenna. So I was driving through the mountains and this car didn't drop the data connection once, but it shows you really the difference there, which is rather nice. So there we go. I have the OnStar, and then you can, you know, do whatever you need to do.
Pardon?
Cancel.
Cancel. Thank you. Goodbye.
And that's how it looks. Oh, hey, Cloud. So I'm having a good time. So anyway, I've got to go. In case anybody is interested, let's show you under the bonnet, because it's kind of fun. If you saw that, but when you open the bonnet or the boots, the little icon on the dash shows you. So this is under the hood. So you've got the electric motor, which produces about 200 horsepower, so it's 150 kilowatts. The power electronics, it's all liquid cooled motor, liquid cooled charging, liquid cooled battery. I got this cheap because this car had been knocked into a post by the dealer before they actually sold it the first time. So I got a couple of thousand off, but it's not a bad little car. And I'm getting this on lease, so there we are. And I like these charging stations if you've never seen these before. They have like this little cable, so this really does go right to the back of the parking space, which is very useful if you need it. I'm going to say goodbye now because I need to go to the restroom. I would quite like to do that on my own, no offence. I will probably do another video when I get to